Hello and welcome to Sleepsmyth, your peaceful place to unwind, dream, and drift gently into sleep. Before we start our story tonight, let me help you settle in with a simple, calming breath like a gentle lullaby for your body and mind. So, find a cozy spot, maybe snuggle under your blanket, and softly close your eyes. Now, breathing quietly through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath softly for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now, slowly exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds, letting all the tension melt away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that again. Nice and easy. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One last time, just like a soft whisper, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Feel your body getting lighter, your mind quiet, as if you're being tucked gently into a calm, warm bed. Thank you for sharing this moment with Sleepsmyth. Now, relax completely and let the story carry you into a peaceful, restful sleep. Let's begin.
The night stretches like velvet over the world, quiet yet expectant. Tonight, we wander into places where love refused to hurry, where hearts and hands stilled in the gravity of devotion. Stories where passion is etched not in fleeting moments, but in marble, stone, and memory. Where every glance, every sigh, every vow lingers beyond the touch of time, frozen in monuments that whisper of longing, loss, and eternity. First, we drift to the banks of the St. Lawrence River, where Boldt Castle stands half completed. A testament to a love interrupted, a grand gesture left suspended in stone, where George Boldt built not only walls and towers, but a home for a dream that fate never allowed to be. Here, devotion speaks in unfinished corridors, echoing through holes meant for laughter and companionship. Then, the journey carries us across oceans to India, where the Taj Mahal rises in white marble, radiant against the sky. Shah Jahan's grief became creation, and Mumtaz Mahal's memory shaped every dome, every arch, every whisper of the reflecting pools. Here, love surpasses mortality, bending time and mortality itself, leaving behind a monument as tender as it is grand. Finally, we sail back to the ancient shores of Halicarnassus, where the mausoleum tells a tale of devotion through grief. Artemisia's sorrow transformed into one of the 7 wonders of the world, a queen's refusal to let love fade into silence. Here, grief becomes legend, memory becomes architecture, and the bond of 2 hearts endures beyond life. beyond centuries. These are not just stories, but echoes of love carved into the world itself. 3 monuments, 3 romances, 3 testaments to hearts that refuse to let go. Tonight, let us linger among these wonders and allow their silent devotion to whisper through the night, carrying you into dreams where love stands still, eternal and unbroken. The Castle Where Love Was Left Unfinished. A Lovelore of George Boldt and Louise Boldt. A narration inspired by Boldt Castle, a love planned in devotion, interrupted by loss, and remembered through unfinished stone. A man who believed love should be visible. George Christian Boldt did not begin his life surrounded by wealth or permanence, and this absence shaped how he understood devotion from an early age. He believed that what mattered most in life should be protected against time, uncertainty, and forgetting, not through words alone, but through deliberate action. As he built his career in hospitality, managing grand hotels and learning how environments could shape human feeling, he carried with him the quiet conviction that love deserved structure and intention. To George, love was not something that existed only in private moments or spoken promises, but something that could be expressed through care, preparation, and thoughtful creation. He understood how spaces could hold memory, how walls could shelter emotion, and how rooms could witness the passing of years. This understanding did not arise from extravagance, but from observation, patience, and a desire to make life feel steady and secure for the person he cherished most. George was known publicly for precision and order, for a calm authority that guided his work and earned respect. Privately, that same steadiness governed his marriage, where consistency mattered more than spectacle. He did not rush affection, nor did he display it loudly, choosing instead to express devotion through reliability and presence. As the years passed and success accumulated, George felt an increasing responsibility to honor the life he shared with his wife. Not out of obligation, but out of gratitude for companionship that had remained constant through change and effort. He believed that love, once proven through time, deserved acknowledgement beyond the ordinary rhythm of days. The idea that would one day become Boldt Castle did not arrive as a sudden inspiration, but as a gradual realization. George began to imagine a place that could exist outside daily demands, where affection could rest undisturbed by schedules and expectations. This place would not serve the world, as his hotels did, but would serve only one purpose: to hold the quiet joy of a shared life. Before stone was laid or plans were drawn, the castle existed first as a promise shaped entirely by devotion. It was meant to stand as something stable in a world that never truly paused. And in George's mind, it was never about legacy or recognition, but about giving form to love while there was still time to live inside it. Louise, the quiet center of his world. Louise Cara Boldt lived without drawing attention to herself, yet her presence shaped the rhythm of every place she entered. She carried herself with calm assurance, neither withdrawn nor commanding, offering steadiness in environments often defined by formality and expectation. Those who encountered her noticed her attentiveness, the way she listened fully, and how her composure softened even the most structured surroundings. As George's life grew more demanding, Louise remained his constant, moving beside him through responsibility rather than behind him. She understood the demands of hospitality and public life, yet never allowed them to eclipse the private bond they shared. Her strength did not appear in grand gestures, but in consistency, patience, and an ability to make even transient spaces feel grounded. Their marriage was marked by loyalty developed over years, rather than by displays of romance. They shared routines, traveled together, and aged in quiet understanding, finding comfort in familiarity rather than novelty. Louise did not require reassurance through words, because their life together had already proven its depth. George observed her closely, not with possession, but with appreciation. He noticed how she carried herself through long days, how she brought ease to moments of strain, and how her presence made effort feel worthwhile. In her, he found not escape from responsibility, but relief from uncertainty. Louise never asked for monuments or gestures meant to impress. Her contentment came from shared time and the assurance that they faced life together. Yet George felt compelled to honor her constancy in a way that daily life could not fully express. He believed she deserved something lasting, not because she demanded it, but because her presence had given his life shape and meaning. In quiet reflection, he began to imagine a place that could hold their shared years gently, away from obligation and noise. A place where love could simply exist, unhurried and unobserved. It was Louise, without ever asking, who became the reason Heart Island would be chosen. Not as a retreat from the world, but as a sanctuary shaped by affection rather than ambition. And though she never knew the full extent of what George planned, she remained the still center around which every intention quietly turned. The island chosen for love. Heart Island rested quietly along the St. Lawrence River, unassuming at first glance, surrounded by slow-moving water and distant shorelines that softened the passage of time. It was a place where sound traveled gently, where wind moved across the surface of the river without urgency, and where the world seemed willing to pause. George Boldt came to know the island not as a spectacle, but as a presence, one that felt separate from schedules, demands, and the steady noise of success. The river itself shaped the mood of the place, carrying reflections of sky and season in a continuous, unbroken flow. Mornings arrived softly there, with mist rising low and light filtering through it without insistence. Evenings settled slowly, as though reluctant to disturb the calm that lingered between water and land. George saw in Heart Island a rare stillness, something increasingly difficult to find within his expanding world. Unlike the grand hotels he managed, this place did not exist to receive others or to impress passing eyes. It felt private, contained, and quietly devoted to whatever purpose one might give it. The island's shape, its distance from shore, and its natural seclusion spoke to George in ways that words never could. Here, love could exist without explanation, without expectation, without performance. Here, Louise could walk without formality, rest without obligation, and simply remain present within the life they had built together. Choosing Heart Island was not an act of extravagance, but of intention. George imagined it not as an escape, but as a continuation of devotion, a place where the years they had already lived could be acknowledged with care. It would stand apart from their daily responsibilities, offering space not for retreat, but for recognition. The decision settled quietly, without announcement or ceremony. George did not speak of it often, keeping the idea close, allowing it to mature without interruption. In the stillness of Hart Island, he found a setting worthy of love that had never sought attention, only endurance. And so, before a single stone was moved, the island became bound to purpose. It was no longer just land surrounded by water, but a place chosen to hold affection gently, patiently, and without demand. In its silence, George heard the beginning of something meant to last, shaped entirely by devotion and hope. Dreaming the castle into existence. With Hart Island chosen, George Boldt began the quiet work of imagining what love might look like if given form. He approached the vision carefully, not with haste, but with consideration shaped by years of experience and restraint. This was not a project driven by excess, but by thoughtfulness, meant to reflect affection rather than ambition. George studied castles not as symbols of power, but as structures meant to endure. He considered their balance, their solidity, and the way they seemed to belong to the landscapes they occupied. What he envisioned was not a fortress, but a residence shaped by warmth, intimacy, and continuity. Plans were drawn with precision, each detail considered for how it might be lived within rather than admired from afar. Rooms were imagined not as displays, but as spaces for conversation, rest, and shared quiet. Staircases would guide movement gently, windows would invite light without exposure, and walls would shelter rather than impose. George thought of seasons as he planned, of how snow might settle against stone, how summer light might drift across interior rooms. He imagined Louise moving through the space with ease, unburdened by ceremony or expectation. The castle was meant to feel lived in from the moment it stood, not distant or ceremonial. Construction began with confidence and care, guided by architects and craftsmen instructed to build with intention rather than speed. Stone was selected for its durability and presence, meant to weather time without losing its form. Each decision reflected George's desire to create something that could remain steady even as life continued to change. Throughout the early stages, the project remained a private devotion. George did not speak openly of its purpose, allowing the work to progress quietly, shaped by meaning rather than acknowledgement. The castle rose slowly, piece by piece, as though responding to patience rather than command. At this stage, the dream remained intact, untroubled by uncertainty. The river continued its steady movement, the island held its silence, and the castle began to emerge as something hopeful. It stood not yet complete, but full of intention, waiting for the life it was built to hold. A love meant to be lived inside stone. As the walls of the castle continued to rise, the vision behind them grew more intimate and precise. This was no longer only a structure taking shape against the sky, but a space imagined for living, breathing, and growing older together. George Boldt considered how love moved through rooms, how it lingered in corners, and how it softened the passage of time when given shelter. Each section of the castle was planned with use in mind rather than display. There would be places to sit without formality, corridors meant for unhurried walking, and rooms where conversation could fade naturally into silence. Nothing about the design demanded attention, yet everything was prepared to receive it. George imagined Louise there often, not as a guest, but as someone entirely at home. He pictured her pausing at windows that overlooked the river, watching light drift across water without needing to speak. He imagined shared meals, quiet mornings, and evenings that ended not with ceremony, but with familiarity and rest. The castle was being shaped to hold time gently, to allow moments to unfold without pressure. It was meant to offer continuity, a place where years could pass without feeling lost. George believed that love, when given space and patience, deepened rather than diminished. As construction continued, the island became more alive with purpose. Workers moved with routine, stone was lifted and set with care, and the outline of the castle grew clearer with each passing day. Yet beneath the sound of labor remained a quiet devotion, the reason behind every effort. This was not a gift meant to impress the world. It was a gesture intended for one person, shaped by years of shared life rather than by spectacle. George did not hurry the process, trusting that what was built with care would hold meaning longer than what was built quickly. In these months, the future felt assured. The castle stood as evidence of plans still unfolding, of love still active and present. It waited patiently, its rooms empty but expectant, ready to be filled with the life they were meant to shelter. The daytime stopped. In January of 1904, life changed without warning or preparation. Louise Boldt fell suddenly ill, and the steady rhythm that had defined her presence was disrupted without explanation. What had once felt reliable now shifted into uncertainty, and the future George had imagined began to narrow into fragile moments. Her passing came swiftly, leaving no time for farewell or understanding. The absence she left behind was immediate and complete, filling every space with stillness. For George, the world did not collapse loudly, but quieted, as though sound itself had withdrawn in respect for what had been lost. Grief arrived not as chaos, but as suspension. Plans halted, movement slowed, and intention lost its direction. The castle on Hart Island, still unfinished, suddenly belonged to a future that could no longer exist. George ordered all work to stop. Tools were set down, stone remained where it lay, and the steady progress that had once carried hope forward came to an abrupt end. There was no announcement, no explanation offered to the world, only silence. The rooms that had been imagined for shared life remained empty. Staircases led nowhere, windows opened onto views meant for someone who would never stand there. What had once represented devotion now stood as a reminder of love interrupted by time. George did not return to the project, nor did he attempt to alter its purpose. The castle remained exactly as it was, unfinished and untouched, held in the moment where love had been forced to stop. In leaving it incomplete, George preserved the truth of his loss without attempting to soften it. Hart Island returned to stillness. The river continued its movement, seasons passed, and the castle stood silent against the sky. It remained not as a monument to what was built, but to what could no longer be lived. An unfinished monument. After the work on Hart Island was abandoned, Boldt Castle entered a state of quiet suspension. It did not decay immediately, nor did it complete itself through time, but remained exactly as George Boldt left it, caught between intention and absence. Walls stood without interiors finished, towers rose without ever welcoming life, and rooms waited for footsteps that would never arrive. George never returned to alter what had been started. He did not repurpose the castle, nor did he attempt to complete it in another form. The decision was not explained publicly, yet its meaning was evident in the stillness that surrounded the structure. The unfinished castle became a reflection of grief that could not be resolved. It was not frozen out of neglect, but preserved in honesty, allowed to remain in the state love had left it. To continue building would have required pretending that time had not taken something irreplaceable. Seasons passed quietly around the island. Winter snow settled against bare stone, summer light warmed empty halls, and autumn winds moved freely through open spaces. The castle did not resist time, but neither did it yield to it fully. Those who glimpsed it from the river saw something unusual, not decay, but pause. The structure stood as though waiting, not for completion, but for understanding. It did not announce its sorrow, yet it carried it unmistakably. George Boldt continued his life elsewhere, fulfilling responsibilities and maintaining the public composure expected of him. Yet Hart Island remained untouched, separated from the flow of his remaining years. The castle was not revisited, not revised, and not explained away. In leaving the structure unfinished, George allowed the truth of his devotion to remain visible. The castle did not become a symbol of ambition or excess, but of restraint in the face of loss. It stood not as a triumph, but as an acknowledgement that love, once interrupted, cannot always be reshaped. Over time, the silence of Boldt Castle deepened. The absence of activity became part of its identity, woven into its walls as firmly as the stone itself. It existed not as a destination, but as a witness, holding a story that refused to be concluded. What remains when love cannot continue? Long after George Boldt's lifetime ended, the castle on Hart Island remained. Its presence endured without explanation, inviting reflection rather than interpretation. Visitors came not to admire a completed vision, but to stand before what had been left behind. The unfinished walls spoke without words. They carried the weight of intention, the suddenness of loss, and the quiet dignity of remembrance. Nothing within the castle attempted to disguise what had happened, nor did it ask to be understood beyond its truth. Boldt Castle became a place where love was not celebrated through completion, but through honesty. It reminded those who passed through that devotion does not always end in fulfillment. Sometimes, love ends in pause, in stillness, in rooms left empty because filling them would deny what was lost. The river continued its movement, unchanged by the castle's presence. Water reflected the structure as it always had, indifferent yet constant, offering continuity where human life could not. Time passed, generations shifted, and the story remained anchored to that moment when work stopped. What endures is not only the stone, but the choice George Boldt made to leave it unfinished. In doing so, he allowed grief to remain visible rather than concealed. The castle stands as proof that love does not require completion to be real, nor resolution to be remembered. Heart Island holds this truth quietly. It does not demand attention, nor does it attempt to instruct. It simply remains, offering stillness to those willing to pause beside it. Where love was left unfinished, memory found a place to rest. And in that rest, devotion continues without movement, without demand, and without end. Boldt Castle stands not as a monument to what was built, but to what mattered enough to be left exactly as it was. The moment when eternity paused. A Lovelore of Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal. A narration inspired by the Taj Mahal, where lost sculpted beauty, echoing through centuries, and a love lived on beyond life. The prince who loved one woman. Shah Jahan, known in history as a ruler of grandeur and meticulous order, carried within him a devotion that transcended empire and ceremony. From his earliest days as a prince, he was trained to govern, to command, to expand the reach of his dynasty. Yet even amid the weight of responsibility, there existed a space in his life reserved for Mumtaz Mahal, his beloved companion. Arjumand Banu Begum, who would become Mumtaz Mahal, was known for her grace, intelligence, and quiet influence. She moved through the courts with composure, yet her presence was impossible to overlook. She became the partner not only of the emperor-to-be, but of a man whose heart would measure achievement not solely by power, but by the depth of their bond. Their union was arranged in accordance with custom, yet it grew into something extraordinary. Shah Jahan did not merely observe her beauty or social status. He responded to her presence with a rare attentiveness. He consulted her, valued her counsel, and sought to ensure her comfort in ways that were exceptional even for royalty. Together, they moved through a world governed by etiquette, ceremony, and politics. Yet within their shared moments, Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal created a private realm of trust and understanding. Their affection was quiet at times, lavish at others, always underscored by mutual respect and devotion. They traveled together, attended court, and bore witness to the expansion of the Mughal Empire. Through victories, campaigns, and the ever-present pressures of governance, Mumtaz Mahal remained a steady presence. Shah Jahan's love was consistent, visible not only in public gestures, but in countless personal choices that reflected concern, care, and admiration. History remembers her influence as subtle, yet it shaped his decisions and comforted his rule. Shah Jahan understood that her presence was not simply companionable, but formative, a source of strength he could depend upon. In her company, he experienced the possibility of balance, even amid ambition, strategy, and the endless demands of empire. And so, even before the great monument was imagined, love had taken root quietly but firmly. It grew in moments of shared conversation, in attentive gestures, and in the certainty that one life had chosen to move entirely alongside another. For Shah Jahan, Mumtaz Mahal was not simply a queen, but a partner whose significance extended beyond protocol, into the deepest parts of his heart. Mumtaz Mahal, the beloved companion. Mumtaz Mahal was more than the wife of a prince. She was the center around which a great ruler's world quietly turned. Her life was marked by intelligence, calm authority, and the ability to navigate the intricate rituals of court without losing her presence. Those who observed her noted the balance she maintained between influence and restraint, elegance and authenticity. She accompanied Shah Jahan through campaigns, journeys, and public duties, often sharing the risks and hardships of imperial life. Her strength was subtle, yet undeniable, as she managed the expectations of court, family, and tradition with poise. She moved in a world filled with hierarchy, yet her spirit never felt constrained, nor did her bond with the emperor diminish. The couple bore children together, raising them with care amidst the demands of empire. Through birth, loss, and joy, Mumtaz Mahal remained a constant presence in Shah Jahan's life, a source of guidance, comfort, and understanding. Even those who were not close could sense her steadiness, her capacity to influence without domination, and her ability to nurture quietly in an environment of grandeur. Their partnership was not only personal, but political, as her counsel shaped decisions, guided diplomacy, and softened the edges of governance. Shah Jahan valued her not only as a beloved companion, but as a trusted confidant whose judgment he relied upon fully. Her presence ensured that love remained a stabilizing force amid the pressures of empire, and that devotion was inseparable from daily life. Mumtaz Mahal's health was delicate, yet her resilience endured through years of travel, childbirth, and the rigors of imperial duty. Shah Jahan watched over her with consistent attentiveness, aware that his own life was inseparable from hers. Every decision he made privately, and later publicly, reflected the depth of this connection. History remembers Mumtaz Mahal not only for the monument that bears her memory, but for the influence, steadiness, and grace she brought to a life that touched millions. She was the heartbeat of Shah Jahan's world, the center around which love, empire, and ambition quietly revolved. Even before marble or plans existed, her presence ensured that devotion would someday take form beyond the fleeting years of mortal life. Love amid empire. Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal moved through a world dominated by grandeur, ceremony, and the weight of expectation. The empire demanded attention, endless decisions, and loyalty to tradition, yet their bond remained steadfast, private yet unshakable. Even amid the noise of courts, campaigns, and public display, they created spaces where affection could exist quietly, almost unseen. They traveled together across vast landscapes, from marble palaces to riverfront pavilions, their steps echoing against stones that would witness only fleeting time. In these journeys, love was woven through small gestures, a shared glance, a hand held during long rides, whispered words in chambers where the world could not follow. Their companionship transformed ordinary moments into lasting memories, anchored in trust and attentiveness. Mumtaz Mahal often advised the emperor on matters of state, blending intelligence with subtle influence. Her words carried weight, yet never overshadowed his authority. She shaped without demanding, guided without asserting, creating harmony where tension might have prevailed. Shah Jahan's love for her deepened as he saw her balance the vast responsibilities of empire with the care and attention she brought to their personal world. In the evenings, when the courts quieted and the sound of distant footsteps faded, the couple would retreat to private gardens and secluded chambers. Here, life slowed to a rhythm shaped only by presence and quiet conversation. The air was fragrant with flowers, the scent of distant rivers and orchards mixing into an almost imperceptible perfume of calm. Even in the most fleeting of moments, Shah Jahan's devotion was evident. He listened attentively, remembered carefully, and responded with gestures that reflected deep appreciation rather than performance. Through these years, love did not lose its freshness or its intensity. Instead, it became interwoven with the fabric of daily life, steady as the river, constant as the walls of the palaces around them. Together, they existed as partners in a world of impermanence. Each shared smile, each touch, each quiet reassurance became a testament to their understanding that love could endure even amid the vast machinery of empire. It was a devotion that demanded no spectacle, yet inspired extraordinary action, one that would eventually rise in marble to endure beyond the reach of time. The death that shattered an emperor. In 1631, Mumtaz Mahal's life was cut short during childbirth, and the steady world Shah Jahan had known collapsed in silence. Her passing arrived suddenly, leaving grief in its wake, and a quiet despair that echoed through halls, corridors, and private chambers alike. For an emperor accustomed to control and order, the unpredictability of loss was unbearable, leaving space only for mourning. The empire continued its rhythms outside, oblivious to the absence he felt. Courtiers, ministers, and soldiers moved through duties with no awareness of the emptiness at the center of Shah Jahan's world. Yet for him, the pulse of life seemed to halt, leaving each breath heavy with memory, each heartbeat tethered to a presence no longer there. Mumtaz Mahal's absence was tangible, felt in empty rooms, silent gardens, and the echoes of steps that would never return. Shah Jahan withdrew, not from duty entirely, but into reflection, carrying the weight of loss as a private burden. Every palace, every riverfront, every familiar space became a reminder of her absence, a monument unbuilt to the life they had shared. In his grief, he made a vow, a promise that would endure beyond the span of a single lifetime. He would create a tomb worthy of her memory, not merely as a structure, but as a symbol of devotion unbroken by mortality. Marble, gardens, and minarets would rise from loss, shaped by sorrow and the quiet intensity of a love that could not be extinguished. The vision of the Taj Mahal began not in planning, but in the emptiness left behind by her passing. Every choice, every design, every stone would reflect both mourning and reverence, a careful balance between memory and art. The emperor's heart, broken yet determined, began to pour itself into a creation meant to hold eternity. And so grief became action, sorrow transformed into form, and the seed of what would become one of the world's greatest monuments was planted. It was a project born not from ambition, but from love, destined to bridge life and memory, mortality and permanence. From the moment of her passing, every element of the Taj Mahal was shaped by devotion, a testament to a bond that even death could not sever. A promise made in mourning. After Mumtaz Mahal's passing, Shah Jahan withdrew into the private depths of grief. The empire continued its rhythm outside, but he moved slowly through life, as if each breath reminded him of her absence. He did not speak much of the monument he would build, but in quiet moments, he sketched, imagined, and planned with devotion as his only guide. The vision took shape gradually, shaped not by haste, but by a painstaking attention to detail. Every choice of stone, every arch, every garden pathway was weighed against memory, as though the structure itself might carry her presence. He imagined her walking among the gardens, feeling the cool marble beneath her feet, and watching reflections ripple across the central pool. Shah Jahan's sorrow became the blueprint for permanence. It was not monumentality for its own sake, but a careful orchestration of light, proportion, and silence that could honor a life cut short. Marble was chosen for its translucence, gardens for their symmetry, water for its reflective calm. Workmen, artisans, and architects were gathered from across the empire and beyond. Shah Jahan insisted on precision, not luxury, ensuring that every detail communicated devotion rather than mere grandeur. The construction became an act of remembrance, with grief guiding creation at every step. Every day of labor was a meditation on love, loss, and memory. The emperor oversaw not just technique, but the intention behind every stone laid, the care behind every carving. It was as if through the monument, he could continue speaking to Mumtaz Mahal when words alone had failed. Even the gardens were planned with her spirit in mind. Paths curved gently, water channels reflected the sky, and trees were positioned to filter sunlight onto spaces meant for quiet contemplation. Each element carried meaning, a delicate correspondence between loss and remembrance, absence and permanence. The Taj Mahal began to rise not simply as a tomb, but as a testament that devotion, when true, could transcend death, form, and the passing of centuries. Shah Jahan poured his heart into every measurement, every proportion, and every detail, as though the marble itself might absorb his love. Building heaven on earth. As the first white stones were set in place, the Taj Mahal began to take on the quiet dignity of inevitability. It rose from the earth as if guided by devotion itself, each level, dome, and minaret harmonizing with the river, sky, and surrounding gardens. Shah Jahan moved among the artisans, observing, instructing, but also absorbing the growing presence of a monument already suffused with his grief. The air around the construction was filled with the sound of careful labor, not haste. Hammers struck stone in rhythm, chisels carved patterns of subtle complexity, and scaffolds rose into space with deliberate balance. It was not noise that defined the work, but a quiet persistence, echoing the constancy of love that had inspired it. Marble from distant quarries arrived slowly, transported along rivers, and set in place with reverence. Each block seemed to carry a fragment of memory, an echo of Mumtaz Mahal's presence, and a whisper of the devotion that had endured beyond life itself. Shah Jahan walked the growing structure daily, his presence quiet yet intense, marking the space not with ownership, but with witness to what was being created. The monument became a dialogue between sorrow and beauty. Every carving depicted harmony, every dome reflected light, and every shadow played across surfaces as though responding to the human heart that guided it. Grief had transformed into design, loss into permanence, and absence into presence. Work continued year after year, with thousands of artisans contributing to the creation of what would become one of the most beautiful expressions of love the world has ever known. The emperor's devotion never waned, even as his own body aged, and the weight of empire pressed upon him. In every moment, every stone, every line of symmetry, the Taj Mahal carried the quiet certainty that love endures beyond death. And so the structure began to rise not merely from the earth, but from memory, loss, and longing. It was a place where grief and devotion met, where the human heart attempted to shape eternity with hands guided by love. The Taj Mahal became more than a building. It became a sanctuary of memory, a palace for devotion, and a testament that some love is too enduring to fade. White marble and silent grief. Years passed as the Taj Mahal rose from foundations to sky, its white marble glimmering under the Indian sun. Each dome and minaret reflected a devotion that refused to fade, carrying grief into form, turning absence into visible presence. Shah Jahan moved among the artisans daily, observing each detail, yet his attention always returned to the memory of Mumtaz Mahal. The work was meticulous, deliberate, and almost sacred. Carvings were etched with precision, floral motifs and verses from sacred texts inscribed in stone, each element chosen to honor her spirit. The gardens were arranged symmetrically, water channels reflecting both sky and monument, as if the world itself had been made to echo memory. As the years passed, Shah Jahan rarely left the site without a sense of quiet reflection. Each morning light falling on marble reminded him of her. Each evening shadow carried her absence in soft relief. The emperor's grief never softened completely, yet he found in the act of building a way to continue living with love unbroken by death. The Taj Mahal grew into more than architecture. It became an embodiment of emotion. Visitors centuries later would remark on the harmony, the serenity, and the quiet presence that radiated from its walls. But for Shah Jahan, it was a private sanctuary, a continuation of the life that had been shared, built in stone when the heart could no longer hold her. Even the river nearby seemed to mirror the solemnity of the creation. Its slow, steady flow reflected the marble, carrying the story of devotion outward into the world, while never disturbing the stillness that lingered within the monument itself. Every curve, every corner, every shadow became a testament to love that could endure beyond mortality. Time did not erase grief, nor did it diminish devotion. Instead, it allowed the monument to take on permanence, preserving memory in a way human life alone could not. Shah Jahan's silent mourning was infused into every detail, shaping eternity from loss and leaving a legacy of love untouched by time. Love that outlived its creator. When the Taj Mahal was completed, it stood not as a tomb alone, but as an enduring declaration. A declaration that love, when true and unyielding, could shape the world beyond the limits of human life. The white marble reflected sun and moon, the gardens welcomed the wind and the river, and every visitor was touched by a devotion older than the walls themselves. Shah Jahan lived long enough to witness the culmination of his grief and care. He spent his later years nearby, occasionally gazing upon the monument, quietly acknowledging the permanence of what he and Mumtaz Mahal had shared. His heart, though aged and burdened by sorrow, found solace in knowing that her memory would endure. The Taj Mahal did not shout of power or ambition. It whispered of love, fidelity, and the human capacity to honor another completely. Its beauty was not only visual, but emotional, shaped by devotion, memory, and the steady insistence of grief transformed into form. Every reflection in its pools, every shadow across its walls, every breeze through its gardens carried the echo of a life shared and now remembered. Even after Shah Jahan passed, the monument remained. It did not merely commemorate Mumtaz Mahal, but the bond that had defined both their lives, a love preserved so fully that it could not be forgotten. Generations would come, see, and feel the quiet weight of devotion captured in stone, and understand without words what it had meant to the hearts that created it. In this way, love outlived mortality, transcending the limits of the human span. Shah Jahan's devotion, Mumtaz Mahal's presence, and the memory of their shared life became inseparable from the monument itself. The Taj Mahal stands not only as a marvel of art and architecture, but as a sanctuary of memory, a quiet reminder that some love is eternal, patient, and enduring. Where grief once had left emptiness, devotion now endures. And centuries later, the river flows, the gardens bloom, and the marble glows, holding a story of love so complete that it could never truly end. The Tomb of Endless Love, a Lovelore of Mausolus and Artemisia II, a narration inspired by the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, a love so profound it raised a wonder, honoring a bond even death could not diminish. A world where memory was power. In the ancient city of Halicarnassus, where the sun rose over the Aegean and kissed the walls of marble and stone, memory was as potent as rule. The city stretched along the coast, its streets narrow yet alive with the bustle of markets, the calls of merchants, and the distant rhythm of waves. Rulers understood that power was not only in armies or trade, but in the ways their deeds would be remembered, carved into history like the stones that line the city's temples. Mausolus, a young king of Korea, inherited this understanding from his forebears. He moved among courtiers with dignity, balancing tradition with his own vision, and carried himself with a consciousness of legacy. Every decision, from city planning to foreign diplomacy, was measured not only by immediate gain, but by how it would echo in the minds of those who would follow. The land itself seemed to hold memory in its stones. Temples, tombs, and statues dotted the coast, reminding citizens that mortality was fleeting, but remembrance could endure. Mausolus grew up surrounded by these markers of history, understanding that to live without leaving traces was to vanish entirely. It was a world where love, too, was entwined with remembrance. Royal unions were not only for governance, but for perpetuating the presence of those who mattered, their names etched into both law and legend. Mausolus would come to know this intimately, as his life intersected with a woman whose influence would turn love into a monument beyond time. The Aegean breeze carried salt and stories alike, as if the sea itself remembered every life it touched. In the courts of Halicarnassus, whispers of lineage and loyalty moved like shadows across marble floors. And in this place, where memory governed power, a story of love was quietly beginning, destined to be immortal. Even before the love of Mausolus and Artemisia II took shape, the city itself taught that remembrance could outlast flesh and blood. Here in Halicarnassus, stone and story would become inseparable, and the lives of rulers would be measured not by years, but by the echoes they left behind. It was a world where memory was power, and power itself could be transformed into a testament of the heart. Mausolus and Artemisia II, a shared reign. Artemisia II, daughter of a noble line, entered Mausolus' life not merely as a partner, but as an equal in mind and purpose. She possessed a calm authority, intelligence, and an understanding of the delicate balance between governance and compassion. Together, they ruled Korea with a combination of strategic acumen and personal attentiveness, their partnership quietly remarkable in a world dominated by men and legacy. Their love was woven into duty, and duty into life. Courts and cities thrived not only because of law and order, but because of the mutual understanding between the king and his queen. Mausolus trusted her counsel, while Artemisia guided decisions with both subtlety and clarity. The city watched them as a unit, seeing not only power, but alignment. They moved together at ceremonies, presided over festivals, and attended to citizens' needs, appearing as one yet each retaining individuality. Their love was not always displayed in gestures, but in the way their governance reflected harmony, respect, and shared vision. Even in quiet moments, they were partners. Shared meals, walks along the coastal walls, and private gardens allowed them to speak freely, plan, and reflect. Theirs was a connection that combined intellect, affection, and responsibility in a form that few could witness but many would remember. Mausolus and Artemisia II understood that love could be a kind of permanence. It was not merely in passion, but in care, in shared labor, in the commitment to uphold one another's presence in the world. In their union, both life and legacy intertwined, creating a bond that would later transform grief into one of the world's greatest monuments. The Aegean sun shone on the city's walls, gilding marble and tile, as if nature itself approved of their harmony. In Halicarnassus, love became both a private force and a public testament, guiding the choices of rulers whose lives would eventually enter legend. And in this shared reign, the story of Mausolus and Artemisia II began, a story that would transcend life, death, and even time itself. The king who became mortal. Mausolus, the ruler whose presence had once felt enduring, fell to the inevitability that binds all mortals. His death arrived not with fanfare, but with the quiet weight of finality, as though the city itself paused to acknowledge the loss. In the palace halls, whispers of disbelief moved through courtiers, yet even their voices could not fill the silence left behind. Artemisia II, queen and partner, felt the collapse of certainty in her bones. The world she had navigated with him, built together in strategy and shared purpose, now seemed unmoored. Every stone of Halicarnassus, every wall, every path they had walked together echoed with absence. The king who had appeared immortal was gone, leaving life and legacy suddenly fragile. Citizens mourned, temples held ceremonies, and the seas along the coast reflected the muted grief of a people who understood what had been lost. Yet for Artemisia, grief was not a public matter to observe, but a private force, consuming, shaping, and demanding acknowledgement. Mausolus' death revealed the limits of human presence. Even rulers, even kings, even those whose names were written in chronicles and stone, could vanish. And in this realization, Artemisia found both despair and the beginning of resolve. She understood that memory alone could not suffice. Remembrance must be made tangible. The fleeting nature of life could not diminish the permanence of love, if that love were made visible in enduring form. And so, from the depths of sorrow, a vision began to emerge, a monument worthy of the life they had shared, and the bond that death could not sever. The queen who refused forgetting. Artemisia's grief was immediate and absolute, yet it did not turn her inward alone. It demanded expression, a testimony to the love she had lost, a witness to the man whose life had shaped hers in every respect. She refused to allow him to vanish into memory alone, and she refused to let the world forget the significance of their union. The queen's mourning became obsession, though not of vanity, but of honor. She considered every detail of Mausolus' life, every achievement, every gesture, and determined that his essence must be preserved in stone. Halicarnassus itself became her canvas, and her sorrow, the sculptor's chisel. Artemisia II summoned artisans, masons, and sculptors from across lands. She poured her wealth, her will, and her intellect into designing a structure that could hold both memory and legend. Every column, every relief, every statue was chosen to speak of love, leadership, and presence, as if Mausolus could be made eternal through creation. Even the city sensed her determination. Citizens watched her traverse construction sites, consult with craftsmen, and guide the work with exacting care. Her grief was disciplined, her purpose unwavering, and her love transformed into a tangible plan that would outlast the centuries. Artemisia understood that forgetting was the true death. To allow Mausolus' life to fade unmarked would be a betrayal of everything they had shared. And so, in her refusal to let him be lost, she began the monumental task that would create one of the wonders of the ancient world. Even amid sorrow, her mind and heart were precise. Stone would speak for her love, sculpture for her grief, and the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus would stand as both tomb and testament. It was not merely an expression of mourning, but a conscious choice to make love immortal where human life was fleeting. Grief made monumental. From the depths of sorrow, Artemisia began to envision a structure worthy of Mausolus, a testament so grand it could endure centuries. Her mind traced lines of marble, imagined colonnades reaching skyward, and sculpted gardens that mirrored the balance and harmony of their shared reign. Every choice was guided not by extravagance, but by the need to translate love and grief into form, to make absence present in stone. She sketched, instructed, and revised. No detail was too small, no relief too subtle to carry meaning. Each carved figure, each column, each pedestal was intended to honor a life lived and a bond that death could not diminish. Artemisia's vision blended artistry with devotion, creating a blueprint that was both architectural and emotional. The mausoleum would rise on a platform of marble, its walls adorned with intricate friezes depicting Mausolus' achievements and the city he had governed. Sculpted lions and warriors guarded the tomb, symbols of strength, courage, and the permanence of memory. Gardens would surround it, with pathways, fountains, and reflective pools, so that visitors might experience serenity as they walked through her grief made tangible. She imagined the interplay of light and shadow across the marble, sunlight reflecting from the reliefs in the morning and moonlight softening the edges at night. Every stone was meant to echo life, love, and absence simultaneously, creating a harmony that could speak across generations. Even the wind and the sea nearby were to become silent witnesses to this labor, carrying the story of Mausolus beyond the city walls. Artemisia's grief had transformed into an unwavering purpose. The mausoleum was no longer just a tomb, it was the embodiment of remembrance, a space where love, loss, and memory coalesced into permanence. And in this act, she herself became a figure of legend, a queen whose sorrow gave shape to one of humanity's greatest wonders. Artists, stone, and sacred memory. Artisans arrived from across the known world, bringing skills in carving, masonry, and design that could meet Artemisia's exacting vision. Stone was quarried from distant lands, transported by land and sea, each block chosen for strength, beauty, and suitability for eternal remembrance. Carvers worked tirelessly, transforming raw marble into statues, reliefs, and columns that captured Mausolus' life, the people of Halicarnassus, and the depth of a queen's love. Artemisia II oversaw the labor with vigilance. She walked among the workshops daily, offering guidance, correcting details, and ensuring that no aspect of the mausoleum failed to communicate the profound grief and fidelity she carried. Her presence was felt in every strike of the chisel, every careful placement of stone, every carefully proportioned column. The mausoleum grew steadily, rising from platform to pediment, columns reaching toward the sky, terraces lined with statuary, and gardens surrounding it in perfect symmetry. The air carried the scent of fresh stone, the faint tang of the sea, and the quiet hum of artisans at work, as if every sound contributed to the monument's sacred energy. Even as the city went about its daily life, the mausoleum's construction became a quiet pulse, marking time through creation and collective effort. Each figure carved into stone was more than decoration, it was memory made visible. Scenes of courtly life, loyal subjects, and the ruler himself were etched with precision, capturing character, dignity, and the essence of a life loved and lost. The mausoleum was a language of grief and admiration, a lexicon of loss transformed into beauty. Artemisia's commitment never wavered, even as years passed. Her sorrow remained, but it no longer consumed her. It had become structure, art, and reflection. Through stone and labor, her love endured, teaching the world that grief, when expressed with care and intention, could become a creation of lasting resonance. A wonder that outlived its world. After years of tireless effort, the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus stood complete, a marvel that reflected both human ingenuity and the depth of a queen's love. Its towering columns, sculpted reliefs, and gleaming marble terraces commanded awe, even among those who had witnessed empires rise and fall. The city of Halicarnassus itself seemed smaller in comparison, its streets and walls now dwarfed by a testament to grief, memory, and devotion. Artemisia II walked the finished monument with quiet reverence. Every detail reflected intention, from the carved lions guarding the entrances to the delicate friezes that told stories of Mausolus life. The gardens framed the mausoleum, fountains reflecting light across the white stone, creating a space both serene and monumental. Word of the mausoleum spread across lands and seas, travelers and rulers alike marveling at its scale and beauty. It was a wonder not simply for its architecture, but for the story it embodied, a love so profound that it had transformed grief into permanence. Even centuries later, historians and poets would recount the tale, linking Artemisia's sorrow and loyalty to the magnificent structure she created. Though time would eventually claim parts of the city, and even the mausoleum itself would face destruction, its legacy endured. Fragments of its beauty inspired other cultures, and its very name, mausoleum, would become synonymous with monumental remembrance. In this way, the love of Mausolus and Artemisia II transcended mortality, carried forward in memory, language, and imagination. Artemisia II had achieved more than a tomb. She had forged a bridge between life and legend. What was once grief became architecture, what was lost became beauty, and what was absence became enduring presence. The mausoleum outlived empires, rulers, and even time itself, standing as testament to a love that could not be erased. When love becomes legend. The Mausoleum of Halicarnassus transformed a personal story into universal legend. Artemisia's act of remembrance did more than honor her husband. It encoded love into history, creating a monument that generations would recognize as a symbol of fidelity and memory. The word mausoleum itself, derived from Mausolus' name, became part of human language, forever linking grief and devotion to the form of a grand structure. Even as centuries passed, the story of Mausolus and Artemisia endured. Writers, travelers, and historians would tell of a queen whose sorrow gave rise to one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Her love, preserved in stone and story, outlived the empire, the city, and the bodies of those who had created it. The monument became more than architecture. It became legend, a way to teach that love can survive absence, that grief can create, and that memory can be eternal. Every carved relief, every marble column, every garden path carried the quiet echo of a life shared and a bond unbroken. It was a sanctuary not only of the dead, but of enduring love, a place where the human heart reached beyond mortality into permanence. Through the mausoleum, Artemisia II ensured that Mausolus' life and their love would be remembered. Time could erode walls, wars could crumble cities, but the legend of a queen who refused forgetting would persist. In Halicarnassus, in memory, in language, and in every whisper of marble and shadow, love became eternal. And so the story of Mausolus and Artemisia II closes not with silence, but with a timeless presence. A presence carved into stone, carried by history, and echoed through centuries as a reminder that true love can become legend, enduring long after those who lived it are gone.
you.